Oh my God. Big up HSTikkyTokky. You know, I've been talking about HSTikkyTokky for a while. I'm fascinated with the kid. I think he's really interesting live streamer. If you don't know who he is, he's a mixed race kid that lives in Dubai, travels around in Ibiza. And you know, that whole scene, I'm not really familiar with it, but I do like to see people that kind of, you know, live in that kind of Ibiza scene, tech house, EDM, EDM, whatever else it may be. And he does some really cool IRL streams, in real life streams, where he kind of goes around places in Dubai, or no, mostly in Ibiza, not Dubai, where he just chats up girls. Right, it's kind of fun, nightlife shit, running around, causing a ruckus, sometimes getting into fights, arguments, chucked out clubs, this, that. It's a laugh. But it's also a really different type of guy that I don't see day to day. I don't really hang around with, but I grew up with him in school. That type of a personality of kid, so I kind of recognize the personality and that kind of way of speaking and carrying oneself. So I'm a fan. But lately he's been a bit, he's been off the rails a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. And one of the really weird things that he did back in the day when he was here in the UK for a bit, he leased a McLaren. You know, the McLaren that all the kids like. I don't know what model it is because I'm not really cool with car models, but there's a particular McLaren that all this live streamers love to fucking drive around, love to buy, love to fucking lease and hire. And he got one while he was in London, or while he was in the UK for a bit. And he was driving it. And obviously most of these kids, I don't know why it is as well, but these kids don't seem to be able to drive supercars. I don't know what it is about these kids that like supercars but can't drive them. So he tried to drive it. He obviously put too much, maybe, you know, gas on the pedal, whatever. It went fucking super fast. I think it crashed into a lamppost or a car or something. And obviously those cars, those McLarens, I think they're made out of fiberglass or really thin aluminium. So when you smash into something, the whole front is gone and there was a complete write-off. But really weirdly, he was with this guy, I think, called General G. Big up General G. Big up Kate Barker, actually, or Kate Baker, not Barker. Big up Kate Baker, because if I'm not mistaken, or Kate Baker, she interviewed him back in the day. So that's how I know who General G is. And they got into a car crash, and he got injured. He was quite in a bad way. And if I'm not mistaken, HSTikkyTokky just left. He just ran off, went to Dubai, never came back for like a year plus. And I never understood why he did that. Like, surely you're going to be in trouble for that. And surely if you just stay and deal with it, it would be a much better thing to do than to run away. But he ran away, or he was on the quote-unquote run, living in Dubai, streaming every day in Dubai, streaming every day in Ibiza, having a blast. And then whilst he was out there, he was also mocking the situation. He did a couple of skits, mocking how General G was. He did a couple parody, satire sort of things, taking the piss out of the whole situation, talking about how the Matrix was coming after him, you know, kind of echoing what Andrew Tate said or has said in the past. And I didn't really make anything, you know, I didn't really understand why he was going at that angle, but I completely forgot about it and put it back in my head because, you know, it didn't feel like nothing happened. So I guess the police have had a warrant, the UK police. I don't know why we don't hear about them. I wonder if that's on purpose. We don't really hear about warrants. I feel like in the US you do. In the US you're made aware there's a warrant out for your arrest. So I feel like in the UK they kind of keep that close to their chest. But I guess ever since that crash, there's been a warrant out for HSTikkyTokky's arrest. Maybe he knows, though, to be fair. Maybe he knows. That's why he's also been going super hard these last 18 months. Maybe he knew, which is why he stack up the money. But in general, we didn't know as viewers, but I guess he came back to the UK recently, and on his arrival to the UK, he was arrested. And from what I heard recently on the news, he's been denied bail also. So he's legitimately sitting in prison right now, awaiting his trial. Or his day in court, I guess, right? To hear the charges and shit. And then that's when maybe he might get to bail. But luckily for him, the trial's coming up soon. I think in a couple of weeks. But he's just in prison, in the UK prison right now. Fucking crazy situation. So let's go to the Daily Mail. It says HSTikkyTokky 24 is arrested in the UK after failing to appear in court for dangerous driving. By the way, he's 24, you know. These younger Generation Z kids, they don't look their age, innit? He looks way older than 24. He actually acts older too. Maybe because I think he's a single child, you know, maybe that whole thing, looking after your family. I'm not too sure, parents. But yeah, he carries himself like a way older person than fucking 24. It says, a TikTok star who's been at the center of a year-long manhunt after skipping a court hearing has been arrested. HSTikkyTokky, whose real name is Harrison Sullivan, 24, was detained in the UK on Friday after failing to appear at the Guildford Magistrates Court in November of last year. He was due to face a string of driving offences, including failing to stop after crashing his £230,000 McLaren. By the way, from what I heard, that McLaren wasn't his. I watched some video from Festify. Big up Festify. I had no idea it wasn't his, but it wasn't his. A Surrey police spokesperson confirmed a 24-year-old man from Hutton in Essex was arrested on Friday. He appeared in the Guildford Magistrates Court on Saturday, 11th of October, and has been remanded ahead of a further court appearance in Stange Magistrates Court on Tuesday, 14th of October. Sullivan's arrest brings an end to a months-long search after police issued a warrant when he failed to attend to his hearing late last year. That's an old mugshot of his there. That's a newer picture of him in a Beaver living life, knowing full well that he's got that warrant out for him. The influencer who boasts millions of followers under his name, HSTikkyTokky persona, has previously drawn criticism from the UK shortly after the alleged incident. He was accused of crashing his £230,000 McLaren 720S in Virginia Water, Surrey, and leaving his friend and fellow influencer General G injured. Dramatic photos from the time showed the purple supercar capable of reaching 60 miles per hour in 2.8 seconds completely destroyed. Following the crash, Surrey police confirmed and a arrest warrant had been issued for Sullivan, saying he was believed to have fled the country. Oh, okay, cool. So they did issue it and it was made public. People just forgot, I guess, because it's been a year or so. However, TikTok stars continued to post online, taunting police and causing fans and confusing fans about his whereabouts. So couldn't the UK police have extradited him? Or the country that he's in, a non-extradite? Maybe the countries he was in had a non-extradite treaty, or maybe the offense wasn't enough to warrant them going out to get him. But I'm surprised they just let him like gallivant around the whole time. But I guess they knew he would eventually come back, right? I guess maybe they knew because maybe he doesn't have residency in those countries. He has one of those visas where you have to kind of come, because that's what people do, right? There's that visa, you can have residency in these countries, or you can do that thing where you stay for 30 to 60 days in the country and then you come back and then, you know, for a prolonged period of time, they go back another 60 days. So maybe that's what happened. However, the TikTok star continued to post online. He claimed on TikTok that he had flown back to Britain, posting a video wearing a pink t-shirt with palm trees in the background and repeating 5 times in Brentwood in Essex. He later shared a mugshot of himself on X, writing, "I'll turn myself in tomorrow morning, hold tight, yeah." In another post, he added, "I'm currently residing in Bristol, postcode. Not too sure why you're looking for me though. I've never driven a car in my life, so I cannot even know what crime it is." Yeah, so that's the car, by the way. That's what he crashed. Absolutely. And again, this is a rental. This is a rental, bro. Look at it. It's absolutely destroyed. It looks beautiful still, to be honest, weirdly enough. That's how you know a car's been designed well, when even though the front is completely obliterated, it still looks fucking great. It's purple, black rims. But again, this time's happened so often. All these young kids love these supercars but can't drive them. They can't handle the power. Or maybe just not good drivers overall. That's what I feel like. Maybe because I don't drive, I'm saying this, but I feel like there's not a lot of good drivers out there nowadays. I feel like the driving skills or the standards of driving now are an all-time low. People are shit drivers out there. Shit drivers. But I could be wrong. He later said, but hours later, Sullivan appeared in another foul-mouthed rant filmed inside a Dubai shopping centre where he signs for Jumeirah Golf Estates and is an Essence healing spa, but seen in the background. In the video, he fumed, "Boys, I've done a lot of joking around today, but I'm actually want to be serious. Why is this happening in the UK? Why are people actually disgusting wrong individuals just being let off the hook? Why are the borders open for anyone to come in and ruin the UK? To ruin what's really about, to ruin what's it really about? The police serve the country. The police serve the country properly. Go after the people who deserve to be effing put in prison for the rest of their lives. People that are ruining society, not me. What the F?" Sullivan, who's boasted online about earning $20 million a year from trading, claimed he built a lavish lifestyle in Dubai with 2 private jets and a property empire said to include apartments for his family. So yeah, man, it's looking kind of peaky for HSTikkyTokky. And then the update, of course, is this courtesy of the BBC that says HSTikkyTokky star denied bail. Denied bail. So he's going to be sitting in that prison until the date he has to appear in court. So it says TikTok influencer HSTikkyTokky denied bail. The 24-year-old, whose real name is Harrison Sullivan, was wanted by police for a car crash at Virginia Water in March 2024. He failed to attend court in November and later posted on social media videos from Qatar. Ms. Sullivan had been due to appear in court on Tuesday, but the case was adjourned until the 24th. He was ordered to remain in custody until then, of course. So they denied his bail because he ran away before. You know, like, so they couldn't take no chances. The influencer who has been due to appear in documentary Louis Theroux is facing charges of failing to stop after an accident, driving while using a mobile phone, and driving without third-party insurance. It comes after a crash involving a purple McLaren and a black Audi. Oh, so, and I think people got injured, right? Previously, okay, cool. If I'm not, so he crashed into an Audi. An appeal has been launched by the police after the driver of the McLaren supercar involved in the crash left the scene. Okay, cool. So that's actually I've read online, that's actually a serious crime in the UK. Again, I don't drive, so I don't know these things. But allegedly, if you leave the scene of an accident that you've been involved in as a driver, it's a really bad thing. Like, it can get you in a lot of trouble. You can actually go to prison for it. So it's looking kind of shaky for him. Looking kind of shaky. But weirdly enough, it might be a good thing, because I do remember when I was watching one of his streams, he was talking about how he kind of let himself go. He was in Ibiza, having a blast, drinking all the time, doing a bunch of gear on fucking stream, by the way, which is fucking incredible. But he did say that he was getting a little bit too on it, a little bit too loosey-goosey. So maybe this might be a good thing for him to kind of chill in prison for a bit, await his trial, await his day in court, and kind of go from there. That might actually be a good thing for him. But I'm also curious to know, because it feels like this is not the end, you know? This is not the end. It feels like there's going to be more. I don't know why. There's too much like bad stuff around him at the moment. That Louis Theroux documentary, when that comes out, that's going to really elevate his kind of brand or his celebrity. But it's also going to make people hate him a lot, because I've seen some of the quote unquote behind the scenes footage when HSTikkyTokky was streaming the whole entire time. Louis Theroux was filming this fucking TV show. It was really funny. And the producers kept telling him to turn it off, and he wouldn't turn it off. So I think people are not going to like the version of, you know, him that's on that fucking thing. There's no way is Louis Theroux and his editing team going to try and make him look good. They're going to try definitely make him look bad. And I watch a lot of his streams online when he goes to Ibiza to try and pick up girls. And I'm not going to lie, man. He comes across like a bit of a cunt in those pictures, in those clips. He comes across like a bit of a cunt. He treats women not the greatest. He says some wild shit to them. So, you know, it feels like there is something happening. I don't know. It feels like there's something brewing in the background with that sort of stuff. You'd hope he's not that dumb, right? He's already treating them badly on camera. You'd hope he's not going as far as, like, you know, doing anything more. But it's just, I don't know. I feel like there's a hate train, but it's definitely a shift in terms of how people look at him and view him. So I think for sure, this is probably only going to get worse. Unfortunately for him, this is probably only going to get worse. Really fucking is. But yeah, let's see what happens as it plays out. Let's see what happens as it plays out.